Hello, good morning, and welcome to Today the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damnola Okunshaki, and I'm with my co-host
Precious Chukwudin.
Precious. I was at yesterday. I think I was on with you on the show yesterday.
It was good, and having two guests who were speaking about what we're going through in the country. I think it was something that, in fact, the show didn't want to end because they had a lot of things they wanted to see.
Okay, let's start. Let's just go through what the papers are saying today, and let's start with Vanguard newspaper. And on the front page, we have Nigeria's economy at critical junction. Junction that's coming from World Bank. Recession won't last long. Federal government says, and NESG says, adopt a Chinese model to restore economic growth. You can see that on page 9. On page 6, we have flight operations in Nigeria, accident waiting to happen. That's coming from NAS. On page 27, money laundering, courts remands Ndume in prison over MAINA'S escape. Oxford AstraZeneca's coronavirus vaccine up to 90% effective. On the front page, we have a photo story of the National Festival of Art and Culture that's displayed during the inauguration of the 33rd National Festival of Art and Culture in Jos, Plateau State yesterday. Further stories on page 8. Outrage as herdsmen born Fali's farm again on page 5. 7 soldiers fear dead in Borno landmine attack. The writer says Catholic priest kidnapped in Abuja. Police launch rescue operation. 5 Peggy kidnapped victims yet to be found. Gunmen abduct medical doctor in Kogi. And the stories are both on page 19. Federal government set to float 15 trillion naira infrastructure fund. Federal government proposes bill to exempt minimum wage earners from income tax. And you can see that on page 6. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard, we have a letter to CNN on Lekki shootings, 50 sins of CNN by Lai Muhammad. And that's all on Vanguard. And from there, we'll move straight to the Punch newspaper.
And on the Punch newspaper, we have main headline: Federal government threatens sanctions as 39,070 travelers shown coronavirus test. The writer says the federal government accuses travelers of presenting fake test results, dodging test results after entry. 138 prospective NYC members test positive for COVID-19. Isolated, treated, says NCDC. Also, global surge. Government warns against non-essential travels. Says travelers may be stranded. Stories above, we have ACF lampoons Buhari over North insecurity. Gunmen invade ABU. You can see that on page 2. And on page 21, Naira plunges further. Exchanges of 483 Naira per dollar over speculation. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, woman cuts a 12-year-old boy's body with red hot knife over missing 5,000 Naira. And away from the Punch newspaper, we move straight to the Nation.
And on the front page of the Nation, I will take federal government out of recession by federal governments. Also, measures aligned by our presidents, minimum wage earners won't pay tax. And you can see that story on the front page, and then continues on page 6. And also on the stories above, how AMCON was misled court by Jimo Ibrahim. Inspector General promotes 82,779 policemen to next rank. MAINA'S court sends Senator Ndume to prison. Let Abaribe go to jail, and that's in quotes. Also on page 10, Lagos Ibadan Rail to begin operation December. No fresh fund needed. And lastly, on the front page of the Nation, we have a travel policy for review over surge in global COVID-19 cases. Many income passengers presenting fake virus-free certificates. And you can see that story on page 8. And that's all we have on the front pages this morning. We're going on a short break now. And when we come back, Mrs. Komolafe will be joining us to review the front pages. I will be back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damola Bushaki, and I'm my co-host,
Precious Chukudi.
and of course, we've reviewed the front pages, and now we have a guest who is joining us for this analysis segment, and she is Mrs. Fumi Komolafe, former Labour editor of Vanguard newspaper. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be with you again.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And of course, let's go straight to the matters of today, and let's talk about the recent recession that, of course, was currently declared by NBS. And now the World Bank has also said that Nigeria's economy is at critical junction. So now my question to you is that the recession, during the former recession, a lot of Nigerians were complaining of course, economic hardship, and of course before Nigeria is also first was declared that Nigeria have also entered another phase of recession. We also have people complaining and people living below the poverty level. So now what I want to ask you is that what does this current recession actually mean for Nigerians? How will it affect them?
Of course, it's going to affect Nigerians negatively. People are going to get poorer. More people are going to lose jobs. But if we will be honest, it is expected, because this is partly a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic that nobody ever saw coming. However, and Nigeria is not the only country that is going into recession or has gone into recession as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it is the duty of the government to take steps that will bring us out of it sooner than anyone expects, and to make sure that we get some kind of relief, that it doesn't get to a choking point. That poverty, we're already living below poverty line even before the recession. But again, we must give the government some credit that at a point we went into a recession and we got out of it. Now we are back in it. Now what one will expect is that by now, what is the economic team of the government doing? The government has put in a team led by Professor Soludo and all the economic eggheads that you can think of. They should get down to work, and let's see and work out things that will make the average Nigerian not to be choked by this economic recession. Because if we don't handle it carefully, we're going to witness more people committing suicide and some terrible things. And I don't think we deserve that. So the government has a responsibility to make sure that we are comfortable, that it doesn't choke us too much, relax what it needs to relax in terms of economic policies. And perhaps I heard in the news this morning that the government has said that for some time, the civil servants will be exempted from tax. Well, that's good, but what about those in the informal sector? And the informal sector and the organized private sector, what kind of relief are we going to give them? So we are looking on to our government to do everything to bring us out of the recession sooner than anyone expects, and to make this recession not to choke us.
Okay, when we're talking about this COVID-19 pandemic, the president of Nigeria, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, said that the reason why Nigeria actually slipped into another recession is because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the severity of it now. And during this pandemic, let's talk about China. China recorded economic growth. Now the question is that why is it different in the case of Nigeria, that we're slipping into recession while another country recorded economic growth?
Well, even for China, I don't know how much of economic growth they recorded, because China was practically shut down. And I know people that do businesses with China. I hope that is the truth, because we have to be careful what we believe. Okay? Some countries are not going to admit that they went into recession. I know that China did there was not a lot of massive production. And China is a country that depends on many African countries for the purchase of its goods. Okay, so I have my doubts about the claim of China. However, that does not mean that Nigeria should not take the right steps to activate our economy so that we can get going, and then our own GDP too can improve. That's why I said the government should do what it should do, both internally and externally, if I may put it that way. I mean, in terms of our relationship with other countries, some people have argued that closing the border for 1 year, what has been the benefit? And now we are in recession. Are the borders going to remain closed? That's one side of the story. If you argue that the borders must be reopened, how do we control the influx of goods? Are we going to allow inferior goods to flood our markets? And again, if we don't control what comes in, we are going to be boosting the economy of other countries and then killing our own economy, killing our own private sector. Our own productive sector will be going down. They will be recording no sales, decline in purchase, while Nigerians go for foreign cheaper goods. So it takes a lot of thinking, and let's see what our economic experts can do to, bring us out of this or make us comfortable even within the recession.
All right, still speaking about the Nigeria's economy. Now, the federal government said that with the proposed finance bill of 2020, that minimum wage earners will be exempted from the personal income tax. Now, my question is, how will this reduce the impact of inflation on Nigerians?
Well, maybe not. That's what I was trying to say earlier, but you got it better than I did. Minimum wage. Okay. No, what it's going to do is going to increase the purchasing power of people at that level. It doesn't mean that it do anything to inflation. It only means that a person at that level has more money to purchase the expensive goods. It's not going to do anything about inflation. It only enhances purchasing power. That means you can buy more. But again, at what cost? I mean, if I was spending 100 naira to purchase a particular item, and with tax relief, maybe I will have 150, and then the item I want to buy is already costing 200. Where is the relief, really? Okay, so it may be felt in some sectors, it may not be felt in some sectors. I don't see anything about inflation. It can only increase purchasing power a bit.
All right, seeing how we're going into another recession, what ways can we diversify the economy away from our dependence on crude oil exports?
I think, of course, we have talked about agriculture. Let's give the credit to this government in the way it has propped up agriculture, whether for export or for domestic consumption. However, we need to put in place economic policies that will kickstart our industries. I mean, look, a few years back, about a decade or a little over a decade, if you walk through Aswani, I mean, that's Toyota Axis. Before you get to Ilasamaja, you need to see thousands of workers, employees in different sections, coming out of factories. But the way we have opened our economy and subjected ourselves to so-called market forces, our industries have been shut down. And unless bailout, I don't know whether it's bailout, whatever we call it, unless our industries pick up again, honestly, jobs will remain elusive. People are not going to get jobs. And we are not, even the goods that we buy will continue to remain expensive. We just have to get our industries working. Apart from agriculture, promoting agriculture is good, okay? But what do we do with the product? Okay, you find a lot of tomatoes wasting away, rotting away. Where is the tomato juice factory in Nigeria? Okay, so we need to get the industries working, and this is so important because that's the only way that we can create sustainable jobs. That's one. Then infrastructure. We don't have enough infrastructure. Our roads are in very bad shape. Yet all of this, construction can create jobs. Even mere health. There are so many things that we can do that can create job opportunities and give us a better life. So the government has to really put on its thinking caps or get people to do the thinking. People who can do the thinking and implement. Because it's one thing that recommendations are made and then the government does not comply. If they do that, if we can create job opportunities and can restart the economy, recession will be over within a short time.
Okay, away from that, let's talk about Lekki shootings, as it's called. So the federal government accused the United States Cable News Network of 15 grave journalist offenses in its coverage of the reported shootings as Lekki toll gates in Lagos. The Minister of Information and Culture, that's Lai Mohammed, said the report did not live up to the most basics of the core principles of journalism, balance and fairness. So as as a reporter yourself, I would like to get your opinion on that. What do you think of what is coming up from a Minister of Culture?
First of all, any report, whether CNN or not, is not made to please government or anybody. It is a report based on the facts available to the reporter and the editors at that time. However, it is within the right of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to make a complaint or observation about a report. Now, what I see in this thing, this CNN report and the government allegations left and right, we should not wish it away. The government has a right to complain if it feels that it has been unfairly represented. However, the media is not a courtroom. The way it is going, if the CNN had done something that is unprofessional, I guess they will correct or apologize. If you remember the CNN report, the initial report first said 38 people were killed. Then later they came back to say one person was killed. I don't have any problem with that. I think it's even the part of honor to correct yourself if you made a mistake. However, what I see is that Nigerian journalists are beginning to place themselves as inferior to CNN reporters. And I think that's an insult. Look, a CNN reporter is a journalist as trained as myself. So I don't think that a CNN reporter is better than me. Okay? My report is based on what is available to me. That's why I said the federal government has a right to reply. Yes. Okay? And CNN also has a duty to respond. However, if in its reply, the federal government is found to have made claims that are non-existent or wrong, then the government will rubbish itself more. If the CNN has erred, I'm sure that as a professional organization, the CNN will do what it should do. Okay? But the idea of people thinking that CNN or BBC reporters are superior to Nigerian reporters, I think it's an insult to us as a people. And this was one point I didn't like during the MAINA'S protest. People said it was peaceful. But the organizers were busy attacking the Nigerian media, calling them all sorts of names, saying that it's only the CNN that is reporting XYZ. And I think that's wrong. No CNN, no America can come and put our country right for us. Let's get it right. The attack on Nigerian journalists and the media by the MAINA'S protesters was really, really uncalled for. was uncalled for. Right from the beginning, they said we were not reporting, and it wasn't true. Nigerian media reported the NSAS protest, and we should stop thinking that a CNN reporter who is not a Nigerian, who does not reside here, knows better than we journalists in Nigeria. No, I take exception to that. Because when they come here, we have had cause to interact with them. They link up with local journalists to find out what to do, okay? I'm not writing up the CNN report, neither am I condemning the federal government. They have a right to reply. The federal government has a right to raise issues.
But Mrs. Kamalafe, do you think the CNN should have, reached out to the federal government before hearing their reports?
Yes, because in journalism, there's always the other side of the story. You must make attempts to get the other side of the story, even though the media is not a cult, okay? But if you now make attempts and there's no response, then you go to town with your story. But not to make attempts to get the other side of the story, I think is not the best. However, because even in our report, we try to get the other side of the story. If it is not available, then it's not your fault. You go to press. But not to make any attempt. And I don't want to believe that the CNN did not make any attempt. Okay. I don't want to believe so. And we should just stop thinking that some journalists are superior, they are saints, and we are not. No. They are not better trained than we are.
Okay, there's actually a panel right now, a panel of inquiry, to investigate some of those things. And of course, investigations are still going on when it comes to these Lekki shootings. And of course, now, Minister of Information and Culture just condemning, CNN's reports. And also, federal government and Lagos state government and many other people saying that, what happened that night was actually not real. And we still have investigations going on, and it has not been concluded. So do you think it is actually right for the minister to just conclude that their report is wrong when the panel is still on?
Well, honestly, I thought that the federal government should have waited till the end of the sitting of the judicial panel. However, I think that the government has even taken the CNN report too seriously, honestly, if you ask me. Because I don't see what the CNN report has reported, apart from the fact that they were able to show some pieces of bullets, whatever. I don't see what they have reported, that the Nigerian media has not reported. So, except if the government is saying that they feel so hot by this, or they think they are seeing the implication more than we see it, I don't see the hurry. I don't know why they should react so quickly and with so much, creating so much unnecessary tension, and then the government is perceived as fighting the media. Honestly, I don't see it as fighting the media. The government has a right to complain if they feel so strongly. But I rather think it's too early. That's my take on this.
All right, moving on, let's talk about insecurity. Now, the state of insecurity in the country has, is getting worse by the day. And, there are reports on the papers that 7 soldiers were killed in a landmine ambush in Borno. Also, a Catholic priest was kidnapped by gunmen. A lot of other reports of people who have been kidnapped of late. And, the question on every Nigerian's mind right now is what exactly is going on?
Honestly, these are implications of a failed state. Security of life and property should be the priority of any government. Because when you talk about economy is not for the dead. It's for those who are alive. And President Buhari's government has failed the nation. I don't know why the APC, and I know that many members of the APC are not happy with President Buhari's strategy. They have done everything that is change the service chiefs, the man has not done anything. If the man cannot change things, why not change the man? What is the problem? Heavens will not fall. One man losing his office is better than millions of people, innocent blood being shed every day. Okay? But it's just choking. We all feel unsafe. And this is very, very bad. There's nothing the government can celebrate with. It has no achievement as far as I'm concerned with this level of insecurity. It cannot, government officials cannot beat their chest and say, we are working, things are moving. No. They have to do something about this insecurity. We started with herdsmen, banditry, ISIS, and every day, it goes on and on like that. And the presidency has been turned to the presidency that expresses condolence. It is now a presidency that cannot stop people from being killed, that cannot protect lives and property. It is now a presidency of condolence. The president mourns. How many times are we going to condole? How many times are we going to mourn? We are indirectly or unconsciously killing leaders of tomorrow. People that are going to make Nigeria great. We are killing and spilling innocent blood for nothing. I'm at pains, and it is worrisome. It is worrisome, and this is part of what the NSAS protest was about. Yes, it still continues unabated. I don't know if we need, by whatever means, we have to have a change. I think that we should follow the due process in the civilized way and effect changes if need be. Honestly, we can't continue to live like this. It is wrong. It is an indication of a failed state.
All right, seeing how there's security breaches and how it has become a source of worry, a lot of people have been calling for the sack of the service chiefs. Now, my question is, what form of approach can we, carry out in these times? Because if we're saying that we want the service chiefs to be out of office, what exactly do we really need to do?
You get the service chiefs out. A new set of service chiefs will come in. New ideas probably will come in. And for goodness sake, if we cannot just handle this problem, can't we seek foreign assistance? We thought the Americans came to pick just one single American that was kidnapped. This is not history. This happened right before our very eyes. We should seek assistance from countries that can help us if we cannot help ourselves. Unfortunately, every year you have a defense budget that is so big and our soldiers are ill-equipped. The police, there is a budget, and our policemen don't even have ordinary tear gas to disperse crowd. So what's going on? So, and the president has been told several times to remove the services, but he won't listen. Mr. President cannot continue to run Nigeria as it is his own. If he continues like that, then Nigerians should know what to do. Nigeria is not his private property, it's not his own.
You spoke about seeking foreign assistance. Why do you think that Nigeria, with the years that we've been battling Boko Haram and kidnapping and banditry, robbery, why do you think that Nigeria as a country has not tried to seek foreign assistance?
I don't know why we haven't sought foreign assistance, but it's clear that we are unable to handle this. Rather than abating, it escalates by the day. Maybe we have some foreign assistance, but foreign assistance does not mean buying guns alone. You need training, you need expertise, you need equipment. There must be a way to flush out these people, but we are not using the right strategies, and that's why we may need foreign assistance to do this. There are countries that have gone through this and have survived it. Why is our own like this?
All right.
People sleep, they are dragged out of their house and murdered like chickens.
All right, let's talk about the money laundering saga that with Federal High Court remanded Senator Ali Ndume in Kuje prison following his failure to produce the former chairman of the defunct pension reform tax team, that's Abdulrashid Maina, who he stood surety for. What do you think of this situation?
It serves him right. It serves him right. Before you go and stand surety for a person, you must know who you are standing surety for. Maina escaped, he came back, he was arrested. You go and stand surety for that, let the judicial process take its course. He may remain there for a long time because I don't see Maina coming back. And I don't want to think that way. But only Senator Ndume can explain why he's looking for Maina or what is between them. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, he serves him right.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us today on the show. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. Of course, we hope that next time also you will still receive our call. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ladies, and have a pleasant day at work.
And you too, ma. And that concludes the end of our show. And of course, you can always like and follow us on our social media platforms that are showing on your screen, or visit our website www.vanguardngr.com to get more of our top stories. For now on Vanguard Live, it's bye from me, Dangola Ogunshaki, and also from our co-host
Precious Chukudi. Thank you for watching.